All right, we are back. Happy Friday afternoon. As you can see here, I wanted to kind of show this. Hawaii is a pretty unforgiving place. I've had these less than 2 weeks. I think I've only had them like a week and a half. And I know these are Amazon specials, but man, it's a bit sudden. So, now some of this is, you can see some of this is red because I have my handy dandy pencil. So let's just go ahead and show what some of that would look like. Now we talked about yesterday this potentially being a shark's mouth. Really wish that eye was back here. I suppose I could just drill one if I really wanted to, but we're going to kind of, let me draw it for you. You kind of want to introduce something similar to this, right? Here, I wish this thing wouldn't shut off after like 10 seconds. So I'm thinking something along the lines of this, and this will extend. Let me go ahead and mark where I think the hand's going to be. So I'll say we don't really want to do much past here, right? Doesn't mean we won't, but it's awfully thick. Here, this should give me some sort of marker. It's awfully thick, so this will get tapered, at least, which would still leave that. I mean, there's, especially if this turns into a mouth, it'll need to be somewhat straight-ish there. So, okay, so we know they're going to take some of this down to here, but I'm going to want more of a V shape, right? But I'll need to do that same thing on the other side. So let's just kind of do a rough estimate here. And where do we stop here? It was about here. Right. Taper that here. So it doesn't have to be great, it doesn't have to be good, it just gives you something to do. You can use this to a lot of different ways, actually. Like if I wanted to make sure I filed every surface on here, I could just color this, and wherever I haven't filed it's still going to be red, right? I'm not quite there yet. Let's think about this top a little bit. I want it tapered about the same place, right? So this will need to come down here like that, right? You see that? Okay. And then here's gonna be a little bit different though, because we'll have to do a hard angle down to here, and then make it look like it's coming up and then arcing over. There won't be a top fin because this isn't wide enough for that. I would need something that's like this thick, at least in this area, to pull something like that off. So it's probably not going to happen. But let's just go ahead and mark on the other side. This will be perfect because this is not going to be where it is. Okay, and it stops. The taper stops right about there. Go. All right. I mean, I could just draw a line, like make it more uniform, but this is going to get carved up and carved up and carved up, so I'm really not, it doesn't have to be perfect right now. So now if we're thinking laterally here, unlike the wedged kind of diamond shaped body that I'm thinking of here on the sides, it's really not going to be that way. It's going to kind of come straight down on the sides because we're going to have to move a lot of stuff here. So what I'll probably do is I'll remove this stuff first, see if I can pull that taper off, right? And then I'll start slowly working this side, and then I'll have to take a look to see how much of this I can get rid of, because I may want to get rid of a little bit more on this side if I want to downplay this curve just a little bit, right? It won't be any different than the curve. Won't be any different. The mouth area is still going to be right here, but visually it'll look like it's a little bit different, even if it really isn't. So not going to get all that done tonight. So let's just start carving. Alright, there we go. Tearing out already. Alright. Now, one thing I really wish I could do, and I'm not good at it, is identifying what this wood is, because I mean, it doesn't have bark, it's not going to have leaves usually. Some of the identifying features are a little bit marred because of time spent in the water. Can you erase things? There we go. Let's make this more. Oh, come on. There we go. Alright, so we're starting to get a little bit of that shape in here. See? Okay, let's do kind of the same thing on the other side. So I can always artificially create that again. Like this is a bit much here. Let's go ahead and get rid of some of that. I mean, taking wood off is a lot easier than putting it back on. you know what I mean? All right. Can't say that's putting it back on and have it look the same has ever really worked out for me. Well, let me my fan. It's that. It's kind of blowing some of these out the door because I have to sweep it up several times in a row. I'm not really pleased with that. I think there should be more of a taper, but I'll wait until I work on these sides a little bit more, see if I want to make them thin or not. This needs to come down a bit. I can tell that, but let's just go ahead and do that. But you can only work on one side for so long before you start looking at the holistic picture, because otherwise you might spot something you were about to miss. See that? Yeah, okay. Okay. Let's move a little off the sides here. All right, now here's where we needed that big dip. We want to make it noticeable that this is coming off. That's the end of the handle, right? There we go. And we'll just sand that down when we get it, but okay. Now, so one thing I'm trying to do here is instead of focusing on the middle, I'm trying to just focus on these two halves and making them look somewhat similar to the halves they're adjacent to here. So when I'm working on the bottom, I'm going to worry about this bottom part here because the way I want to do this wand. When I'm working on this top, you notice I'm working on this upper part here too. And eventually I'll try to find that happy medium. Hopefully I'll find it. I'll be deeply disturbed because it does have to have a slender-ish appearance as it goes from here. So it's not like I can't build that wider body that would probably be a little bit more accurate, but that's really not what it's about here. I have a Dremel. It's on a boat somewhere right now, but I have a Dremel that I have experimented with in the past, but it really just depends on the wood you're working with here, because this stuff some of the stuff is so degraded it can just crumble, and you can hold it together with like lacquer and things like that to give it some more strength. You can put a little bit of wood filler in or something like that if you can do that. Now, one thing you can also do, one thing you can also do is keep the shavings from this and then pulverize those and use that as the filler, because it's going to match more closely than, you know, your Home Depot or your Walmart wood filler sort of thing. So I would suggest doing that if you think you're going to use it. I typically don't, because I'm not sealing these things up, and usually if it's that degraded, it's going to break when you start to apply a little bit more pressure and work it longer, because it's fragile to begin with, even when it's in its whole state. And what we're doing here is we're carving away parts of this that may reduce the stability of the wood itself. So you got to kind of keep that in mind too. All right, there we go. Not a bad run. Some tear out there. Gotta be careful here, because it's putting pressure on the other side of this. Since it's not straight, it's putting pressure on the other side of that mouth over there. So if I accidentally forget and lean on it too heavy or something, then it can break it, especially as we reduce the strength of the wood on the sides. It helps stabilizing all those pieces. Let's take a look. Okay, let's come in a little bit more from here. Oof. If this tears out a lot, if it keeps tearing out, then I'm literally just going to have to go to a file with it before too much longer, because I don't want to destabilize the whole thing. And tear out has a tendency to get caught every time you run your chisel over it, so making it worse. Yeah, see, if I go one way, it does it. If I go the other way, it does it too. Yeah, let's see. Not sure about that. All right, and I said there were going to be several times where I'll probably just file it to really see what I've got, where I'm at, make it look smooth, see what's glaring. Sometimes it can be hard to tell. So I think that's kind of where I'm at here. And I can see how some people think it might be a waste of time, but I need to see it and make note of where it's really off, instead of it just looking like it's more off than it really is. Say like right here, for example, there's sometimes the coloring here can make it look like it's much more raised up. This is shinier than this rest of the stuff is nearby when I look at it like this, so it's going to look like its elevation is a lot higher than it might be. So I'm going to go grab a file, and then we will start to work that. I also want to see how this stuff up here kind of responds to the file. There are different files. Some are rough, some are less rough, some are really fine. We're just going to use a medium one here. If I was making incense, if I was going to use this stick to make incense for whatever reason, or I was going to powder it up to use in like a decaying candle, if I found a particularly rotten piece of driftwood on Pearl Harbor, then I would use a very rough file for that. But I have videos about making incense already, so here I'll just grab a medium file, and I can see there's some things that I'll have to change, but I'd rather just kind of get the surface going and then call it good. Now I will say though that this wood, it doesn't look like it's super porous. Some of the wood here is, right? It'll look like it has a lot of pores in it, and that's when I said you have to run it under water. I used to keep like a bucket of water. I could just dip the wand in and set it off to the side, and then let it dry, and then work on another one until it did. And there's a reason for that. I hope this isn't a bug on the inside. But here, let me get my file, and then we'll see. How long is this video? 17? Yeah, that's good. All right. I should probably have a fan going right now to help blow some of this sawdust away. So I do have a table fan that's USB charged. Let me grab that. All right, there it is. Wasn't sure if you can see it or not. Okay. Normally I have this little fan going. Damn, this thing is hot. I might have to blow it on this. This GoPro just gets so freaking hot. We may have to, if it shuts down from heat, I'll have to stop. But I don't want to be inhaling this dust, because as nice as Pearl Harbor is, there's a reason you shouldn't eat anything out of it at all. Nothing. The stuff like the ships, the oil from the ships, the PCBs from the plastics from the shore. From what I understand, before my time, but there are a lot of heavy metal-ish, heavy plastics, forever type chemicals in the water there, and they're starting to introduce more mollusks and stuff back into Pearl Harbor to help naturally clean the water. But what they did used to do is, since it was all military land at that point, and if they didn't have a storage warehouse, they would just let something sit outside. Well, Man, look at that go. Whew. You can see this. I'm sorry I keep tapping this thing, but man, it's just filing right off. Help this fan. That means it's not going to my lungs. So anyways, so they used to let these things sit out in like lots, and eventually that leached into Pearl Harbor. Now I don't know how much was due to having the ships that were sunk in Pearl Harbor and the pieces are still there. You know, I don't know. I was told that a large part of it is just that stuff would sit out in the open, the plastic would break down in the sun, because the sun could be the same temperature here as it was in Maryland, right? Man, I'll get burnt in this sun in a heartbeat. It just seems like it's not, well, temperature wise it's not hotter, but I think it's, I don't know, it feels like it's more direct. And that's me being all pseudoscience, but it's still better than trying to pretend I know quantum physics and prattle off on some occult book. So, all right, so here we go. Now we're gonna test some of these spots over here. Looking good. Now, what am I looking for when I do this? If it's really, it'll start to. I don't know if you can see that or not. Shit, I can't see it. All right, it gets a kind of like a. Oh, damn it. You know how when you have like suede or something like that, and or all of your carpets going like one direction, and then you flip a little part up like that, and it just looks jarringly different than the area around it. That's kind of what you'll see here. And if it responds to the file like that, then you'll have to go to sandpaper, right? Because if the file is too intense, you could try it. This is a rougher file. You could try smaller files, but sometimes the stuff just doesn't stay up. It gets that similar look, like you just went against the grain on some suede or something, and it'll like it'll bunch up and damn it, it'll bunch itself up until it just falls off, right? So that's what I'm looking for here. The fan can help with that. Not really seeing it, or it's not too bad if it is. Sometimes I've had some where it literally just crumbles, and there's nothing you really can't do anything about that outside of put like some wood stabilizer in it, and then hope that it holds. And then for your work, like shaping that area is going to be much more difficult from then on. So you got to think about whether or not it's worth it. Because I mean, I'm probably as is, no enhancements to it. If it makes it that far, then I'm probably. I mean, is it worth? I gotta look at this. Is it worth the $25, $30, $20, something like that, whatever I choose, for this one? Now it turns out really good. It might end up going to 40 or 50, but like I said, it's a wand blank, so somebody else would be expected to finish it however they want. If they want to draw symbols on it, burn symbols into it, it doesn't matter to me. I just give them the shape it towards like a shark, similar maybe to Kamohoali'i. Oop, and there's a fucking bug on the table. See? No, go away, friend. Here, come on. Didn't bite me, so no sense in killing it. You know what I mean? Well, maybe you don't know what I mean, but some of you will know what I mean. I'm going to try to angle this so it's kind of. I hope this doesn't screw the audio up. It might. So I apologize. This thing's just getting super hot. All right. So you might be able to see the lines in here from the file itself. All these things, every tool you have is going to put an imprint onto this wood. Now we can use that to our advantage, right? In some ways, we can like the pencil, right? Put the pencil on there. When the pencil's gone, we know we have a semi-uniform state. This area, it's been worked. Kind of the same thing with file lines. Now, one of the reasons why finer and finer files and sandpaper is used is because it removes the lines of that which is, generally speaking, more coarse than itself. Oh shit, got some of that in my eye. Trying to cool this thing down. All right. All right, so let's take a quick look. Hold on, let me. No, it's good. Okay. Sorry, I had to check the camera lens. All right, so let's take a look here. Shaping's not bad here. I do want to see just a little bit more of this come out. We'll need to for the general shape of the wand itself, right? But I don't want to go much past here with the make sure it's kind of uniform on both sides as best I can. Ish. Okay, so we got that. I mean, eventually I'll probably want to bring it all the way up into here, actually, but we're just going to go one step at a time here and just do this and see if I like it. I don't want to move this area here outside of maybe cutting in more here, which means I need to just go ahead and here. So this will be a tapered area. Okay. And if you have kids or a family, I should say, you know, pets that interrupt you, then these lines can also serve as a reminder of what you were doing. I do actually want to see more of this go. I want it more pronounced, especially here. All this. Let's go. Let's go from the other side too. Just worried about here. This needs to curve in a little bit more. I need to cut some of that down. Okay, let's take a look. Okay, this winds that way. It's a little bit thicker up here. Get that. So let's take down this just a tad, make it more uniform. This is fairly level, so I'll leave that alone, but this isn't. It's a little bit lumpy right here. This one, color it hard if you want to say, you know, remove more material than just some of these others. Move some from here, here, just a little bit, and this will in turn make this look a little bit lopsided. So we'll start that little balancing act going between the two. But I do want a bit of a spine here to help guide the visual approach to the tip there, because if it just goes way down and then comes out like that, it looks like a shitty tulip or something. You know what I mean? I mean, oh my god, that's how my brain works. All right, so sorry. I'm telling you what, I'm here entertaining myself, and everybody else is just kind of along for the ride, so forgive me. Here we go. I mean, that's more than enough work to do. I can tell you I'm taking some of this down right now. Do some of that, just a little bit. All right, let's get rid of the red. All right, what's length of this video? 28. All right, we'll start a different video for that then.